Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, let's talk about thunderstorms. You've got this epic battle happening in the clouds, right? On one side, the flash, that amazing streak of light. And on the other, the thunderbolt, that huge, powerful roar. Today, we're gonna settle the score.
You know how it goes. You see that brilliant, jagged flash of lightning, and then you wait. A couple of seconds later, that deep, rumbling thunder finally shows up. It totally seems like a race, doesn't it? But who actually wins? And here's a thought, is it even a race at all? All right, let's break down our contenders here. So, first up, we've got the lightning. That's pure light, right? A visual show our eyes catch pretty much instantly. Then you've got the thunder. That's a sound wave, a vibration that has to travel all the way through the air to get to our ears. So they're just two totally different ways of experiencing the exact same thing. And honestly, that's the key to this whole puzzle.
Let's talk numbers, starting with light. It travels at, get this, 186,000 miles per second. I mean, that's just mind-bogglingly fast. It's so fast that for any storm we can see from down here on Earth, that flash of lightning reaches your eyes almost instantaneously. There's basically zero delay.
Sound, on the other hand, is a whole different ballgame. It kind of takes its time, moving through the air at roughly 1,100 feet per second. Now, that's about 760 miles an hour, which, don't get me wrong, is super fast for us. But when you put it up against the speed of light, yeah, it's practically crawling.
So in this so-called race to get to us, the flash of light wins. Every single time. It's not even a competition, really. Light is so much faster that the race is over before sound even ties its shoes. But, and this is the cool part, this is where the story takes a really interesting twist.
Okay, so if light always wins, what's the big twist? Well, it turns out we've been looking at it all wrong. We've been asking the wrong question, because it's not actually a race.
And here it is, the big reveal, the fundamental truth, confirmed by, scientists and meteorologists everywhere, is that lightning and thunder are not competitors. They're actually created at the exact same moment, from the very same event.
So stop thinking of them as racers. Instead, think of them as twins. Yeah, twins. They're two sides of the same coin, born from one single, powerful blast of electricity. They just show up to our senses at different times because of what they are. One's light and the other's sound.
This brings us to the next big question, right? If they're born at the same time, what in the world creates that massive, vibrating boom we call thunder? How does a flash of electricity make the air literally explode with sound?
Well, the answer starts with heat. And I mean an almost unbelievable amount of heat. A lightning bolt can heat up the skinny little channel of air it zips through to 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And it does it in just a few millionths of a second. It's insane.
And just to give you some perspective on that number, that is 5 times hotter than the surface of our sun. Yeah, 5 times. We're not just talking warm here. This is a violent, instant superheating of the atmosphere around the bolt.
So this is how it all goes down, this explosive chain reaction. It all kicks off with the lightning's insane heat. The air gets flash-fried so fast it doesn't even have time to expand, so it gets squeezed under immense pressure. And from there, well, there's only one way for it to go. It explodes outward, sending this powerful shockwave tearing through the atmosphere.
And that shockwave? That's exactly what we hear and what we call thunder. It's literally the sound of the air being ripped apart and then snapping back together from that incredible burst of energy. You know that long rumble you sometimes hear? That's just the sound arriving from different parts of the lightning bolt at slightly different times.
Okay, so now that we get the science behind the delay, we can actually use it for something pretty cool. There's a really practical trick, you might have heard of it, called the 5-second rule, that lets you figure out just how close that storm really is.
It's a question we've all asked, right? Huddled inside, watching a storm roll in. Is it getting closer? Is it moving away? Well, guess what? There's a surprisingly simple and pretty accurate way to figure out the distance. It's called the flash-to-bang method, and it's super easy. The second you see that flash of lightning, just start counting. 1,000, 2, 1,000, like that. Stop when you hear the thunder. For every 5 seconds you count, that lightning strike was about 1 mile away from you.
So, let's put it into practice. If you count to 10 seconds between the flash and the bang, the lightning struck about 2 miles away. Count to 15 seconds, that's 3 miles. It's a really simple and effective piece of science you can use to gauge how far away the storm is and, stay safe.
But this whole relationship between lightning and thunder, it doesn't just teach us about weather.
When you really think about it, it's also a surprisingly powerful metaphor for life.
I mean, we often think of life as some kind of race, right? But the thunder isn't losing to the lightning. It's just moving at its own natural speed, on its own terms. And in our own lives, it's so easy to feel like we're falling behind other people. But a delay in your arrival doesn't mean you're any less important.
This whole thing is just a beautiful reminder that everyone moves at their own pace. We all have a different frequency, a different rhythm. Some people make their mark in a brilliant flash, while others, they arrive a little later with a deep, powerful rumble that you can't ignore.
And that's the real lesson here, isn't it? Both have their own unique power. The flash is immediate, it's visual, and it grabs our attention instantly. But the thunder arrives with a power you don't just hear, you feel it, right in your chest. Neither one is more important than the other.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. What if life isn't about who's the fastest? What if it's really about the impact you make when you finally do arrive? Maybe it's about the unique and powerful mark you're meant to leave whenever and however that happens.